and welcome to your myofascial release class. We'll spend 30 minutes doing a full body rollout. Fascia is this layering over all of your muscles, your bones, your tendons that hold everything together. However, it can build a lot of tension over time. So what we're going to do today as we roll out, you hopefully will feel more release, not just through your muscles, which is the more obvious, but through tension in your body that's stored up from just living your life, walking through life, right? So what we'll use, here I have a rad roller rollout tool, but you can use just 1 or 2 tennis balls in a sock, or just 1 tennis ball, not in a sock. That works too. We're going to start with our feet, so we'll start standing. Place your ball down on the ground. Place your right foot onto the ball and just start to roll up and down here, all the way from your heel, or at least the beginning of your heel, up to the ball of your foot. We'll get the toes separately, but just notice, the more pressure you press down with, the more intense it will be. We'll use different techniques throughout this class to get into the muscles, the fascia, a bit differently. But right now, this is just the rolling technique. And if you press down harder, it's going to get in there a bit deeper. It'll be more intense. So meet yourself where you are. If you find a place that feels really sticky or really tense, feel free to stay there for a bit longer. And now bring the balls all the way back to your heel, like you're wearing a high heel. Step your left foot a little bit closer and press down through your heel. You can always lighten it up and then press down again, totally fine. But just allow yourself to give that place that we often don't massage too often a bit release. Now step your left foot back, roll the ball around your toes. You're going to wrap your toes around the ball like my hand right now with the ball around it so that you get into the little webbing areas between each toe. So make sure that you spread wide from your big toe to your pinky toe. And you can kind of rock inward and outward a little bit here if you'd like. And then again, you can press forward, you can release, kind of like you're driving, foot on the gas, release. Awesome. And we'll move on to side 2. So release that foot, shake it out a little bit, get some blood flowing back in there. And then bring it over to your left foot. And first we'll just roll up and down your foot from the base of your heel all the way up to the ball of your foot. And you might notice that one side is a bit tighter than the other. That's completely normal. We often just walk differently on both feet, right? Or we hold things on different sides of our body. So if that is something you're feeling, lean into that a bit. Start to incorporate more evenness in how you use your body side to side, day to day. Whew. All right, now bring it all the way back to your heel. Lower the ball of your foot, your toes to the ground. Step your right foot more forward. And then just press down through your heel. So we have the rolling technique, and then we have the pressurized technique where you really just press down and let gravity kind of take over. With this technique, it might feel good to lift and lower, so you're not just constantly pressing into that fascia, but letting it breathe a little bit in between, especially if it feels really intense. Step your right foot back. Now roll the ball into your toe region. Spread wide from your pinkies to your big toes. I'm wearing socks just because it's a colder day today in Florida. The temperatures have caught up with me. If you're doing this in the summertime, if you're barefoot, you don't need socks. I just find it a bit more comfortable for me. All right. And release. Come on off, shake it out. It will now come down to a seat. Bring the ball underneath your right ankle. You'll lean back into your hands and just start to roll the ball up and down from your Achilles up to right before behind your knee. And notice I'm pressing down through my arms. I've lifted my hips. I'm pressing down through that left foot so that I can roll with a bit more freedom, a bit more movement. But that being said, if you really want to keep it more still, you can just keep the movements in smaller little segments and then roll the ball up, keep it in your calf, that kind of thing as well. Now pause so that the balls land in a place that feels a bit tighter. Maybe you even feel a knot back there. Flex your foot, point your toes up, and then point your toes forward. Whew. And then do that a few more times. So you'll flex and point. Man, I am feeling it. I don't know about you. Oh man, okay. And then you can stay right there, and again, just point your toes and let the muscle relax around the ball. So good. We'll move it up the leg. Bring it now behind your hamstrings. So I'll turn my foot off to the side so you can see. Now we're going to roll from right above the knee up to right before the sit bone. And again, you'll lift your hips. You'll kind of slide side to side. If you find that your foot's getting caught on the mat, you can always place your foot on a floor, and that will give you more sliding power. Just notice you have 3 hamstrings back there, so maybe you notice that one hamstring feels tighter than the other. Just notice that. Again, find a place that feels a bit tight, pause there, lower your hips and cross your left leg over your right. Walk your hands forward, and again, just let the ball press in to your leg without doing any work for it. The top leg will just create a bit more pressure downward. If that's not working for you, you don't have to cross your legs. All right. Come on up. Bring the ball now underneath your glutes, so you'll sit on top of the balls. And I'm going to turn this way so that you can see. But I'll sit on top. Notice you have a bone. Your sit bone is back there. So we're going to keep both knees bent and stay away from the sit bone. So you can start in the upper glutes if you'd like, and then you'll physically lift your sit bones up and slide the ball so that it's past your sit bones. And just make sure that you're working both areas of the glutes. You can turn your knees out to the side a bit so that you get into the outer upper a bit more. You can turn your knees straight up to get a bit closer to the center. And then if you find a place that feels really tight, you can cross left ankle over right thigh to let it get in there a bit deeper. You can find some movement side to side, but you don't have to if that feels like a lot. You can just stay in the press. All right, uncross. Release, come off of your balls. Now we're going to bring the balls underneath your, where the muscles are that surround your IT band. So we're not going to roll out the IT band itself. We're simply just going to place left foot behind right leg, lift your hips, and slide up and down. You'll stop before you get to your knee. You'll stop before you get to your hip. So it's really a smaller little motion here. Getting to your outer leg. If you sit a lot, this might feel really good for you. And then come on off. Grab the balls, bring them behind you. Bring the balls right at your center of your back. And here you're just going to lift your hips, roll forward and back a bit on forearms. Again, it's a small movement. It's probably only like 3 inches. We want to stay out of the low back region in this moment and just focus on that center place right below your shoulder blades, right above your tailbone. Awesome. Grab the balls, bring them up a bit higher. You'll now come to lie down. They're between my shoulder blades here. You can always interlace your hands to hold your head up. Just pause here. Over time, let the prop move into your shoulder blade region, getting into the muscles behind your shoulder blades. They're a bit harder to get to. And if you don't want to hold your head up and have a yoga block close by, you can always slide that under your head as well. Breathe deeply. Bring your forearms back down, press yourself up. Now grab the balls, we're going to bring them behind the neck, right at the base of your shoulders. So as you lay down, it's in the really meaty, fleshy part right outside of your neck. Again, we're just going to hold it here. Legs can extend or bend, whatever feels good for you. And just notice as you breathe into your chest, the balls might lift and lower in your shoulders a bit. That's good. That's where we want it to happen. The breath is kind of helping to work out the muscles, the tension. Reach under you, lift your head. Move the ball now up behind your head, right where your head and neck meet. If you only have one ball, you'll turn your head to the side to kind of lodge it in there, and then you'll move it to the other side and place it on the other side. If you have two, you can move your head side to side. It's right below the occipital ridge here. If one side feels tighter than the other, you can always pause there and just breathe a few deep breaths. This might even be less about overuse and more about even just sleeping on the wrong side of the bed, right? Sleeping with your head and neck kind of craned to one side, just in an awkward position. Or maybe you have been staring at a computer screen for a while today and you just need some release in your neck. All right. From here, grab the ball, bring it underneath your right tricep, and start to roll up and down. Again, not a huge movement. It's kind of stemming from reaching through the elbow and then shrugging your shoulder up towards your ear. We can't get to all of the places today because we do only have a half hour, but hopefully you're feeling your right side a bit warmer, maybe more circulation or buzzing or just openness in the right side compared to the left. And then rock over to your right side, grab the ball, and roll onto your belly. And I'm going to turn this way so you can still see my right side. From here, we'll start with the forearm. Bring your forearm down and just move the ball up and down. You can hold your head up with your hand if you'd like. You can lay down on your forearm, whatever feels okay for you. And now we have less pressure, already added into the equation because we're no longer standing or using our entire body weight. So make sure that you do press your forearm down as you roll to your own level of subtle discomfort so that you're really getting in there. Now bring the ball up to your wrist. Let your wrist hang over, lower your elbow, lower your hand. And just press down gently into your inner wrist. Similar to your feet, you'll now slide the ball so that your hand wraps around the ball. If you have two, great, you can spread a bit wider. If not, only one, that's okay too. You can still get a bit more space between your index finger, middle finger, and ring finger. Press your pinky, your thumb down. Maybe roll forward and back a little bit, just gentle movements. And release. Bring the balls now underneath your pec muscle, so right above the nipple line, right below your collarbone. Place one hand on top of the other, forehead down. Breathe deeply, let the balls gently, slowly sink into this muscle group. Awesome, come back up. Bring the ball now underneath your belly, right inside your hip bone, your pelvis bone, your outer pelvis. I like to have the balls a bit more at a diagonal so they can get under the bone a bit more, but you can place it horizontally if that feels better. Where mine is diagonal is that it's right inside your pelvis and then it draws up towards your belly button a bit. That's where mine's at. But again, if you have just one, you can place it right in there. And now take a few really deep belly breaths, expanding your belly. On your exhale, let the balls kind of press a bit further in, maybe one day getting to your psoas and iliacus muscles. But notice if you feel any engagement happening in your core as you exhale, try to let that go. Reach underneath you, grab the balls, bring them into your hip flexor, your hip crease. Just hold here, press down. You can add a bit more by crossing your left ankle on top of your right ankle. And now come on up, uncross your legs. You'll prop yourself onto your forearms and kind of army crawl forward. Move your shoulders forward past your elbows and then send them back. And again, if your mat is sticky, you can always come onto the floor so that your back leg slides a bit more on the floor, your back foot, I should say. Roll up and down your quads. Woo! You might find a place that feels a bit tight. You can pause there and just breathe. You can cross ankle over ankle to deepen the intensity if you would like. Stay away from your knee. This is solely about the quads and hip flexors, so we'll keep it a bit higher up. Awesome. And release. Roll off to your left side, press yourself up to a seat. Notice the difference between your two legs, and we'll move on to side two. So we already got into the left foot. We'll now place the balls behind your left ankle. Right foot down, press down through hands and foot to lift your hips. Then just slide up and down the balls. Get into the back of your left calf. And this is what's cool, is that you can notice what side is more used or overused or tight just based on doing one side and then the other. Noticing when your face gets really stressed out, that's probably the more intense side. Now find a place that feels really tight, pause, flex your foot, point your toes. Do that a few times, flex and point. And then point and release. Release any engagement in your knee. Let your leg hang heavy. Moving on up. Bring it up to your hamstrings, right above the back of your knee. Again, press down through hands and legs. Slide your leg forward and back. You can always place your foot on a tile floor, a wood floor, to give you more momentum here if you'd like. And then find a place that feels a bit tighter in the hamstrings. Cross right ankle over left, sit yourself up, and then gently fold forward. And try not to completely round. Keep some space in your chest after the pec opener we did on the first side. If it feels like a placement that you can't hold for very long, that's okay. You can always uncross the top leg, maybe take the ball out and just find a more natural hamstring stretch by folding forward. Uncross your top foot. Bring the ball now behind your glutes, underneath your glutes. Always be wary of bone on ball. So now you can slide here. You never want to place any roller on a bone. It's always going to be on the muscle group, around the tendons or something like that. So if you start to find that your sit bone's in the way, move the ball up or down or out to the side. Find a place that works for you. Then pause in a place that feels extra tight. Cross right ankle over left. You can shift your knee over to the left a bit more. Bring it back through center. Try to find a release through the muscle group instead of tension and engagement. So good, come back through center, uncross. Take the ball out from underneath you. We already did the sides of the back here, so we won't work on the back again. So we'll meet on our bellies. Bring the ball underneath your left forearm. And just start to roll it side to side, up and down. You can spread wide through your hands, and then you can make a fist and see the difference between the two. We use our wrists a lot. We type a lot. Our arms are very active, so really get in there with this one. Move the ball up to your wrist and let your elbow fall, let your fingers fall so that it's a bit more of a heavy pressure downward. And now bring the ball up to your hands. Again, we're going to claw our hands around the ball. Pinky thumb can be on the ground, just so that you create a bit more space between each finger at the webbing, so that you stretch out your palms, get some blood flowing back through your fingertips. Lastly, we're going to bring the balls underneath left elbow and rock up and down the tricep here. You can hold your head up with your right hand if you'd like. You might physically have to move the ball further up or further down, depending, because the movement here isn't a super big one. We're going to place the balls underneath your left pecs here. So it's going to go right at the side. Then you can T or cactus your arms or one hand on top of the other, forehead down. And if you have a bit more time, I didn't mention this on the first side, but you can make more of a cactus shape and move your arm in and out. And that's going to really get the balls deeper into this place. If you do it on this side, maybe you move the balls over to the other side and you try it out there. But deepen your breath into your chest here. Slowly come on up. Move the ball underneath your left side of your pelvis. So it'll get really deep in there, diagonally pointing up towards your belly button, maybe, if that's the version you're taking here. To your cactus, your arms, you can lower a cheek down if you'd like, or forehead down. Just make sure your neck stays neutral. And then now breathe into your belly, into your low back. If you notice any sort of tension in your belly, over time try to just relax there. Release over the ball. Slowly come on up to forearms. Move the ball underneath your hip flexor / hip crease area. And just pause there. If you want a deeper stretch, you can cross ankle over ankle. And again, some we roll, some we just chill. You can try out both variations of using this tool as much as you want. Notice that if you are using balls that you find around the house, tennis balls will be a bit chiller to use than, let's say, a lacrosse ball or something that's harder. So you can always have different levels for different areas and just kind of work with yourself slowly. Come on up to your forearms. Start to roll up and down. You might want to place it a little further down, up and down your quads. Just by kind of army crawling your shoulders forward towards your wrists and then back over your elbows. And then find a place that feels extra tight. Usually it's right at the center of the muscle, so halfway between your hip bone and your knee. And then you can always cross your right ankle over your left, but you don't have to. You can always slide your foot underneath your lifted foot if you'd like, if it feels as though your knee is being kind of strained here. So good. Press down down, lower your knees, come on up. We have the muscles around our IT band on the left side now. So come to sit on your left side. Bring the ball underneath your left outer hip, and then front leg can be bent in front or behind, and just slide forward and back here. Another place where your foot on a flat, smoother surface might be a little more helpful in sliding instead of a sticky mat or carpet or something. All right, and come on down. Move the ball off to the side. We're going to take a Shavasana together here with the balls once again behind your neck. So come all the way down. Bring the ball right at the base of your neck if that feels good, or you can bring it right at the base of your head near occiput if you'd rather go there. Hands can be on your heart and your belly. Feet can be wide or knees bent. Whatever feels best for you, and then just take the next few moments of breath to let everything settle. You stay here as long as you'd like. When you're ready to move forward, start to deepen your breath. Invite small movements into fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Bring your arms overhead, your legs long for a full body stretch. Pull your knees into your belly, rock off to one side, coming off of your prop. And press yourself up to a seat. Move with your eyes closed. Find a tall spine, bring palms together in front of your heart. We'll close our class together with one final breath. Please inhale through your nose, fill up. Exhale, let it go. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. I bow to you with so much love and gratitude. From my heart to yours, namaste. Please, if you feel any sort of warmth or pain in any parts of your body, please ice afterwards. I will do a rollout session on my foot, and just because of tension in my foot and ankle, it really helps to ice after. It just kind of loosens everything up so that you don't end up in pain down the road. Drink a lot of water, stay hydrated, and I hope to see you again on your mat soon. Thank you.